Suppose there isn't just one aha moment. And suppose we have multiple aha moments over a lifetime that actually start dictating for us what is that second, third, or fourth act for some of us. And I think I've heard a couple of fifth acts over the last few days. I want to share a few of mine, a few moments that have changed the way that I think about women, money, who gets to call themselves an entrepreneur. And I hope they influence your thinking as well. Story number one, I call the tax accountant. I maybe was in high school or college. I don't remember that. But I do remember sitting at the dining room table. My parents were meeting with their tax accountant. The tax accountant told my dad, who owned a business, you know, you do better on taxes this year if you put your wife's name on it. My dad said, absolutely not. My mom's face crumbled. Now, my dad was a great guy. I learned so much from him, well-loved in community, great father, but he was a man of his time. And what we know about that time was women couldn't have bank accounts in their own name. They couldn't have credit in their own names. So his answer probably didn't seem that unusual. But to me, I remember it striking me and thinking, so you can help somebody build something that your whole life and you don't get to put your name on it. And I think that's when I decided I was going to go to law school and do something about it. I didn't end up going into that area of law, but it was just so fascinating to me. Fast forward, Act 2, Moment 2 is my consulting firm. So I'm in my mid-30s, and I've just had my oldest daughter. And I quickly figured out, raise your hand if this happened to anybody here, that traditional work, being a mom of young children, kind of didn't work that well. Anybody else have that experience? Okay. And so, like millions of other women, I just kept thinking, well, there's got to be something to do. There's got to be something to do. Surely somebody will be flexible. And of course, that was not going to be the case. So I did something then that I thought was just the practical solution. And looking back, it was probably pretty radical because I had no idea what I was doing. I decided to start my own consulting firm, and I did. And then what I did was hire women like me, women who, professional, had children, couldn't find work beyond that wasn't unreasonable, professional, talented, committed to work, but also wanted to and needed to be able to take care of their children. And I realized then that it was a systemic issue. The system was designed by people who didn't kind of get that somebody had to be there when the kids got out of school, that we actually needed flexible work if a baby got sick and that kind of thing. I didn't realize, I wasn't thinking of it as building my own boat. I was just thinking of doing something really practical for my solution right then. But I kept hiring women who were in the same position. And Janine's little project, which is what people were calling it, right? Heaven forbid that we call it entrepreneurship because I'm solving a problem. No, it was Janine's little project, and Janine's little project became a multi-million-dollar consulting firm. And the password of a building that we ended up buying was 25 Smart Women, because basically what we did is we just brought on women who needed flexible, part-time, professional work. I didn't know it at the time, but I was building my own boat. Moment 3, I call it women's math. In 2018, I stepped away from my consulting firm, leaving it in the hands of some really capable women who were running the various departments in it, and to start changing the narrative, which was an anti-ageism initiative based in the US. Spending all of my time going around and talking to people, very much like what you heard tonight from Wendy and Jen and other people. We've talked about ageism and how it manifests, and that was what I did. Every day I would get on a plane, I'd go and talk to different groups about ageism, how it worked. I would talk to employers about why they were missing the boat, so to speak, when they refused to hire older people, and that kind of thing. In a course of 5 years, hit people in all 50 states in the US, 49 countries outside, did trainings reaching over 50,000 people, right? So I think this is great. But there was a recurring moment that really got to me, and it was this. Every time I would talk about ageism and talk about workplace age discrimination, somebody would say, that happened to me, it happened to my mom. There was one particular incident where the workshop I was doing was accompanied by a lunch and learn. So kind of like these things we've been doing the last 2 days, there's this lovely lunch. And as the workshop is ending, I'm noticing that there are women there who are taking basically the refreshments and they're putting them in tote bags. And I'm like, part of me is thrilled. I don't have to clean up. And part of me is saying, why is this going on? And when I sat down and chatted with some of the women, what I realized, and they were telling me they were working or trying to work, couldn't get jobs despite the fact there were help wanted signs. A lot of women in their 50s and 60s, and lots of them trying to survive on small amounts of savings and tiny Social Security if they qualified for Social Security. And then I started realizing how women's math worked. For women of our generation, we most likely have been paid less for over a lifetime, most likely to have stepped out of the workforce to take care of children, older family members. And then when you accumulate that over time, we are supporting the system, right, by keeping families intact. But the system isn't working for us. And basically, these women who had all worked, had great experience, just found themselves in this bizarre situation where they go to a workshop basically to take the refreshments. The system didn't fail them once, it just compounded. So then in my ageism work, there was a moment that I didn't see coming. I tended to be on podcast a lot. I want all of you on my podcast called Build Your Own Boat. But I tended to be on podcasts a lot, and this one podcast host asked me, so Janine, tell me about your personal experience with ageism at work. And I stopped and I realized, well, I've never had one because I've always been self-employed my entire life, so that would be me looking in the mirror and saying, oh, you're too old to now run this company. And I wasn't going to do that. But what I realized then, the bigger aha moment in all of that was that I was inoculated. That thing that I had started, that little project that I had started to give myself freedom when my daughters were young, basically had inoculated me from the things that many women my age were facing in the workplace and everything else, because I was self-employed, continued to be self-employed, running even the anti-ageism initiative through my consulting firm. And so the question then became to me somewhat like this. Instead of just thinking, how do I fight ageism? How do we make sure that the systems that really disadvantage women, how can we change it? What can we do about it? So a little over a year ago, I did an AI experiment. This is my last moment, I promise. A little over a year ago, I did an AI experiment. I was writing an article about entrepreneurship, and I asked 5 different AI generators to generate an image of an entrepreneur in a coffee shop. That was it. I didn't give age, didn't give gender. Entrepreneur, coffee shop. 5 different platforms, 5 images. Every single one, young man, spiky hair, hoodie, laptop. And what it told me was the bias that we know is there in society is baked into all the algorithms, and we can't see. We can't see women as entrepreneurs. We couldn't see anyone over age 40 as entrepreneurs. And so unfortunately, I was at a women's conference doing a talk on ageism from the stage in November, and I was telling the story about AI images, and I said, without thinking, I might have been talking late like I am now, so I was just saying things without thinking. And I said, and I'm going to tell the stories of women in midlife and beyond who have started new entrepreneurial ventures. Okay, great, I say, applause, applause, I leave the stage. For the next 2 days at the conference, I get totally swarmed by women who say, that's me, tell my story, that kind of thing. And I was like, I don't really want to do this. Wait a minute, what am I getting into? And then then I sat down and I emailed 50 different women that I knew, some of you in this room, who I knew had started something sort of midlife and beyond. And I was like, if I did something like this, would you play with me? And everybody said yes. And I was like, okay, I guess I've got to do this now. So what and the idea is build your own boat. So what Build Your Own Boat is a podcast, a Substack series, and eventually a book to tell the stories of women, like many of us in this room, who have started something new at midlife and beyond. It might have been a passion project, it might have been a nonprofit venture, might have been a political cause, might have been a new business venture. We cannot be what we cannot see. And so all of you, what I want to know is when a woman who's out there, who's facing workplace age discrimination, whatever is going on, I want her to know that she has options. I want her to know that she has a roadmap. I want her to have stories of women that have actually done it, what they've learned, how they did it, what not to do, what to do. I want her to know that she's not alone, and she's not. She is us. So just say after me really loudly. I know, it's late, but say it so loudly that they come rushing in the room to see. Okay, we're going to, on the count of three, build your own boat. 1, 2, 3. Build your own boat. Thank you. Okay.